ever since Hill 881 and 861, you feel something in the air about the buildup. I don't know, you could almost feel them working around you at night.
Dear Ellen, we've really been preparing for this all-out offensive by the Gooks. I guess you might have read about it in the papers. There's supposed to be a truce in Vietnam during the Chinese Tet New Year. Khe Sanh is the only area not observing it because of the buildup. I'll try to write again soon. Love, Jim.
Dear Mom and Dad, I guess by now you're worried sick over my safety. Khe Sanh Village was overrun, but not the combat base. The base was hit, and hit hard by artillery, mortars, and rockets. All my gear and the rest of the company's gear was destroyed. I am unhurt and have not been touched, but with all the death and destruction I've seen in the past week, I have aged greatly. I feel like an old man now. I've seen enough of war and its destruction. I'm scared by it, but not scared enough to quit. I'm a Marine, and I hope someday to be a good one. Please pray for us all here at Khe Sanh. Your son and Marine, Kevin.
It's Tet, the Oriental New Year, and it's a new war. The Viet Cong simultaneously attacked just about every major city and town in South Vietnam. In one day, they increased the scope of the war dramatically. Howard Tuckner was there.
The war came to Saigon early in the morning of January 31st. The first target was the symbol of the American presence in Vietnam, the United States Embassy. About 20 Viet Cong had invaded the embassy compound and were now battling American Marines and military police. The Viet Cong had penetrated to the center of what was supposed to be the most secure city in Vietnam.
Part of it. Not knowing where they are, that's the worst thing. Riding around and running the sewers and the gutters anywhere. Be anywhere. Just hope you can stay alive from day to day. Everybody just wants to go back home and go to school. That's about it.
You lost any friends?
Quite a few. We lost one the other day. The whole thing stinks, really.
Awful sick of it. I'll be so glad to go home. I don't know. It's the worst area we've been in since I've been in Vietnam.
You think it's worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. They say we're fighting for something. I don't know.
General, there's a lot of speculation up here in the Hill that ultimately we may have to use nuclear weapons. What can you say on that subject?
I do not think that nuclear weapons will be required to defend Khe Sanh.
Yeah, that's what gets me. That's not the way we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to be hard chargers, man. We're supposed to go out and get them. I think if they pull a good search and destroy up here, we could clear them out.
Well, I don't know. You get out there 50 feet and you're lost already in the jungle. I mean, it looks pretty clear from here.
It's just a constant siege here, and you don't know exactly when the incoming's coming, and you don't know how much it's going to be from day to day. And
how would you compare it to other places that you've served in Vietnam?
Well, this is the worst I've been at. You just, most of the time you can't get anything done because there's too much incoming. You can't get out much at all. It's just too dangerous to get out. And it just gets on your nerves, that's all.
Either that or just had a B-52s go up one side, back.
The only thing they hit is the ground.
Dear Dad and Mom. Well, they haven't got me yet. I'm sitting here in my new bunker underground with many sandbags and metal skids between me and the surface. But the men and I will be all right no matter what comes. We are all well, and morale is high. You know, I've never really regretted coming over here. Even yesterday when my favorite turd got it. The little guy with my platoon sergeant's radio man. I really loved the kid. He was the hardest little worker, and never complained, do anything for you. After they had taken him away, it almost kicked my ass, as the saying goes. I almost cracked. But there were 75 others to worry about, and I snapped myself out of my cheap civilian bull and got back to work. Well, you learn every day the mistakes you were making, and the biggest one is to get too attached to any one person. Not over here, at least. Things happen so quickly, and one minute he's fine, and the next, he's not. But old Don, pretty lucky, knock on wood. And home I'll come, I'm sure. Maybe after we wipe them up here, they'll go to the bargaining tables and we can come home. All of us. Love, Don.
Once I was a soldier, and I fought on foreign sands for you. Once I was a hunter, and I brought home fresh meat for you. Once I was a lover, searched behind your eyes for you. And soon there'll be another to tell you I was just alive. And sometimes I wonder, just for a while, will you ever remember me?
Dear Aunt Fanny, this morning one of my men turned to me and pointed a hand filled with cuts and scratches at a plant with soft red flowers and said, "That's the first plant I've seen today that didn't have thorns on it." The plant was also representative of Vietnam. It is a country of thorns and cuts, of guns and marauding, of little hope and of great failure. Yet in the midst of it all, a beautiful thought, gesture, and even person can arise among it, waving bravely at the death that pours down upon it. Someday this place will be burned by napalm, and the red flower will crackle up and die among the thorns. Yet their flower will always live, in the memory of a tired, wet Marine.
Sometimes I wonder just for what will you ever remember me? Remember me.
With American sons in the field far away, I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
What happened to you?
Oh, I got kind of messed up. My unit is dropping because some, well, I don't, you know, exactly, I don't know, it was a fire base. They was overshooting, and then I was out pulling guard, and some hot rounds got too hot, and they started getting close, and then next thing I know, I couldn't hear out of this ear. It kind of blowed it out, and next thing I know, I was catching shrapnel, and then that was it. And then they started evacuating me out, and this is my 5th hospital they put me in. I don't know if they're going to send me home or what. I sure hope they do, though, because I've had it. I don't want no more Vietnam.
Dear Mom and Dad, Peachy and Fuzzy. As I suppose you can see by my new stationery, this is not my normal letter. While walking down the road one day in the merry, merry month of September, my squad got into a hell of a fray and lost one member. Me. I'm all right. I am all right. I'm all right. The carbine round hit me where it would do the most good. Right in the butt. It hit no bones, blood vessels, nerves, or anything else of importance, except my pride. It was, however, a little bit closer to my pecker than was comfortable, but that's as good as ever, although it's now going through a year's hibernation. So, I'm lying in bed here, and it comes time for that most thrilling event, when the general gives out the Purple Heart. All in all, it was a dreadful performance by everyone, but in a way a classic stereotype. One of the large number of stereotyped characters and situations I have watched acted out much to my growing concern. They finally left me sicker than I was before, and with a medal I never wanted anyway. Love, Sandy.
Dear Mom, it's official. Would you believe a silver star? But I'm no hero. Heroes are for the late show. I was just trying to help a couple of guys who needed help. That's all. The heroes over here are the guys trying to do their job and get home from this useless war. Love, Phil.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a
Dear Dad, I've been listening to the Vietnam Radio's news report special on the assassination of Martin Luther King in Memphis. But now I have a story to tell. On Friday, March 29, in our AO just south of Wade, we received small arms fire from a village. My platoon leader, Gary Scott, and one other man were killed. I was very close to Lieutenant Scott. I was his radio operator. He was a fine man, a good leader, yet he could not understand the whys of this conflict which killed him. They will say he died for his country, keeping it free. Negative. This country is no gain that I can see, Dad. We're fighting, dying for people who resent our being over here. Oh, I'll probably get a Bronze Star for the firefight. Lieutenant Scott will get a Silver Star. That will help me get a job someday, and it is supposed to suffice for Lieutenant Scott's life. I guess I'm bitter now, Dad. This war is all wrong. Your loving son, Phil.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Now, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. What's that sound?
Debbie, my dear honey cake. My health is much better now. The more I dream of the love we have shared, the more I love you. These dreams make me feel as if I'm still with you. Please keep a full and complete diary so we can reminisce. Debbie, I'll surely have much love and lots of joy with you in our future. I'll remember your youthful and lovely face always. Please pray for me, Debbie. Alan. Merry Christmas, my darling. Indeed, for me, a very Merry Christmas this year. My values have changed over these many long years. I've searched very carefully for lasting happiness, for what life really means to me, and I found it. I found it in a family, in a home, the dream home we'll soon build together. I found it in the beautiful New England that I love so well, that I miss so much. But most of all, Debbie, I found it in you.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you.
Dear Mom, well, I'm spending Christmas Eve in good old Bunker 110. I've got guard duty again. I always wondered what it must be like to be at war and far away from home on Christmas. Now I know. I can imagine how Pop felt during World War II. Love and kisses, Ray.
And when those blue
Vietnam. This is where it's at. It's what's happening, or to put it another way, who needs it?
Dear Mom and Dad, on Christmas, the whole company was loaded onto a 2.5-ton truck and carted off to Benoit to see Bob Hope. Imagine, I've looked at Bob Hope for years entertaining the troops and never once thought that he'd someday be entertaining me.
Hey, this is Miss World from India. This is Miss World from India.
Dear family, Christmas out there was really something. At midnight on Christmas Eve, the mortars and tracks and tanks and all of the 1st Cavalry artillery sent up an absolutely thunderous barrage of high-altitude flares. It was quite a show. I believe few people have seen fireworks like these. Then, when all had quieted down and the flares had gone out, the whole area calmed and hushed, and we could just hear one of the fire bases start singing Silent Night. Then it was picked up by the other positions around us and by everyone. It echoed through the valley for a long time and died out slowly. I'm positive it has seldom been sung with more gut feeling and pure homesick emotion. A strange and beautiful thing in this terribly death-ridden land. It is something I will always remember. Love, Peter.